All right, good afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome you to our Fall 2020 Higher and Post-Secondary Education Applied Project poster session. Thank you all for being here. First, we'd like to, of course, welcome our presenters and our graduate students who will be sharing with you all shortly about some of the work that they've done over the last 15 weeks, although in many cases for many of our students, this represents a longer engagement with the topic, whether it's through their own professional careers or through practicum experiences. But what this culminating project will give you an opportunity to do is to learn a little bit more about the things that they've been able to research and gather data on and share findings related to critical and timely issues within higher and post-secondary education context. I should have started by saying my name is Kia McGuire. I'm an associate professor in the higher and post-secondary education program. My gender pronouns are he, him, and his. Um, and I would also like to acknowledge the ancestral homelands of the Acme, Atham, and Peepash peoples' lands, which we all are working from and learning on. And so I would like to start by simply sharing a little bit about the program and more importantly, where this project fits within that within students' learning experiences. And then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Dr. McIntyre, who will share a little bit more about the floor of the events for today. Again, our higher and post-secondary education program is an opportunity and a learning experience that's really geared to prepare professionals to work in a variety of contexts on college and university campuses. One of the things that has become a core identity of our program has been the process by which we help and work alongside students as they learn ways to gather data, analyze data, all in the service of improving higher education practice and policy wherever they may be located. And so this applied inquiry or applied project, that poster session that you see here today is a culmination of a 15-week exercise or experience. During the first 7.5 weeks, our students have an opportunity to design a project. Of course, these projects are oftentimes very ambitious, and over our 15 weeks, we are able to pare it down into something that is not only manageable, but that will be impactful with the data that they're able to gather. And then in this session B of the semester, students are able to carry out their research project. And we'll get a little bit towards this at the end of the session today when we give some thank yous, but you should know this represents not only the work of our students and the faculty who are in the classroom, but also a number of mentors who sign up to work with students along and help give feedback on their projects as they're being designed and carried out. So we look forward to you all engaging with our students today, asking them questions, learning about their research, and hopefully having a very invigorating conversation. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Dr. McIntyre, who will say a little bit more about how the rest of the afternoon will be spent.
Thank you. Hi there. My name is Lisa McIntyre. I am an executive director in the University Provost Office at ASU and teach in the Master in Higher Ed program. The applied project is one of my favorite classes because, as Dr. McGuire said, this is about the topics that the students are most interested in. And so I always learn a lot about topics that I maybe don't get exposure to on a regular basis. So I hope all our guests have that same experience. Our students will be presenting in small breakout rooms of 3 to 4 folks. Dr. McGuire is going to put a link in the chat where you can find the Zoom breakout room link for the individual that you're here to support or the breakout room that you're most interested in. They are grouped by topics. We ask that you mute your microphones. You're all doing a great job of that if you're not the one presenting. We will present in order of the link that Dr. McGuire just shared. There will be a facilitator in the room to just kind of make sure all the technical pieces go right. They will be recorded sessions. We also ask that you hold all your questions until all of the presentations in your breakout room are complete, and then we'll open up that session for questions. We do encourage you to ask questions. These folks are experts on this topic and have spent a lot of time and energy becoming experts. And so this is a great opportunity for them to answer any questions that you might have. Once all the presentations in your breakout room are complete, we ask you to come back to this main session room for us to wrap up the program. So with that, Dr. McGuire, anything I missed or you want to add before we break out?
Nope, that's it. And please reach out to us for any questions that you might have. Dr. McIntyre and I will be moving from room to room. I see that I just got a message in the chat asking, can individuals move from room to room? Yes, as long as you're not a presenter. So all of our guests beyond the students are able to again move as you would like to bounce around to hear different topics of conversation and discussion. Um, and so again, at this time, we'll give folks about 5 to 7 minutes to make your way over to your rooms. For our students who are on the call, again, look at the sheet as well so that you can go to the room that you will be in. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So thank you and welcome all again.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alanah Liggins. I am doing my presentation on retention amongst first generation students in electrical engineering at Arizona State University. So my research problem is retaining first generation, first time college students in STEM-based majors such as electrical engineering. Um, I was interested in this problem because over the time that I was in my practicum, I noticed that first generation students don't have the access to resources like other students who have parents or grandparents who have gone to college prior to this. And a pattern that I noticed within the electrical engineering program is that many of the students who are non-first generation students um, have parents that are in the same field, so they kind of get access. They get access early on prior to even entering into college, and a lot of first generation students don't have that ability or that access. So the purpose of this study is to investigate how high school math preparedness affects the performance of first generation college students on the ALEX placement exam. And so I narrowed it down to the math placement and tying it into retention, since a lot of the STEM-based majors are math intensive. And so basically, in order to pretty much move on and get to the next stepping stone of classes, you have to have that math foundation in order to move on. So if you don't have pre-calculus, sometimes it affects having the ability to enroll into an introductory electrical engineering course or any courses moving forward in your flow chart of courses that you need to take in order to obtain your degree. So my methodology, my data collection was a survey. It was 12 questions. My participants were first year college students in electrical engineering. So it was not just for first generation students. It was for all freshmen because I wanted to get perspective on both ends. Um, I was able to have convenient sampling because I am fortunate enough to work in the electrical engineering department. So the advising team assisted me by by posting my survey on their Canvas board and asking students by putting my message to the students on the Canvas board for students to take the survey. And so they did that through their ASU one-on-one class, which is a mandatory course for all incoming freshman students. And so some of my key findings. One of the questions I asked were, "Are you the first in your immediate family to go to college?" So my population size was 205. So that's basically the first year our freshman students. That was the large amount, but I was only able to get 39 responses out of the 205. So as you guys can see, that darker orange on my survey are students who are not the first in their immediate family to go to college, and then that small portion That lighter orange, the 20.5%, are first generation students. So I was hoping to get more students that were first generation students to respond, to really be able to compare some data and make some comparisons or correlations for what I was looking for, but I got very little response from actual first generation students. And so one of my main questions, if we go back to my purpose, was about high school math preparedness. So in this graph, they responded to the statement, which is my high school prepared me mathematically for the electrical engineering program. And so as you guys can see, that darker brown color are first generation students, and many of them felt like their high school prepared them mathematically for the electrical engineering program. And then that lighter brown is non-first generation students. And it's a little bit of a hit or miss. Some people felt like their high school prepared them and some did not. But in my next chart, you can see that a lot of first generation students said they felt mathematically prepared, but then based on the ALEC placement and where they placed upon completion says otherwise. So a lot of the first generation students that did respond placed below the required entrance, which is the expected entrance for students coming into the electrical engineering program is to place in Math 265, which is calculus. But a lot of them either placed in pre-algebra or college algebra. And so that's below what they needed to. And so that was kind of weird to see that they felt, confident or they felt prepared, but then their test results showed otherwise. So some implications for my survey and for my research is that I needed a larger sample size. If I could have gotten more responses from first generation students, then I think that I would have been able to compare more, gain access to the Fulton School of Engineering Analytics retention reports over a few years. So basically this is their first year. And my main thing is about retention and seeing if the students are being retained and being able to gain a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. And so I would need more time to basically look over reports over the years and see if enrollment drops amongst the first generation students, look at test scores, look at their grades and things like that. So I would definitely need more time and access to reports in order to determine whether there was student success in the electrical engineering program. And then lastly, there was one question, which was my final question on my survey, about whether or not ASU provided or the electrical engineering school provided resources. And a lot of students, that was like one of the comments that they made is that, providing more resources and access to more resources. And so I would just say as an implication that the electrical engineering program should push for more resources and amongst that first generation group, since it does show in my data that they struggled a little bit as far as meeting the expectation of being in calculus entering into the program, is to maybe push some mandatory programs to make sure that they're successful, even if they start below the expected math course that they should be in, but just to make sure that they're retaining them and that they actually follow through and complete their degree once they're done. Once they begin to move forward. So just basically providing that support for those students, more support. That was a lot of the feedback from them that I got, especially during this time with COVID and everything, just even more support than they do if things were in a normal state. And thank you.
Thank you so much. So thank you for that, Jordan. So I have to say, this is my first time participating in a virtual poster session. And that felt like a whirlwind, but in a good way. So thank you all for your presentations. Both Dr. McIntyre and I had an opportunity to hop around from room to room. I'm actually going to stop talking and turn over to Dr. McIntyre, and I'll say a little bit more to close us out at the end.
All right. I just wanted to congratulate all of you. You should be very proud of what you did. I know this semester was like none other. Just like Dr. McGuire, that was my first virtual poster session. And I just want to commend you all on your resilience and determination in making it work. We had all kinds of fun challenges to work through, and we all did it and had great communication. And I think you all, just the potential is limitless for all of you. So I wish you all the best of luck. I hope to hear updates from you all where your careers take you, and um, always here as a resource for you all. So I see all the applause and celebrations going up. It might be a bit much to unmute and do a round of applause, but want to thank all the guests, family members who were able to join us today. That is one of the great things about our virtual opportunity, is that I think we might have been able to expand our audience a bit more. We will be sharing recordings with the students. So if you weren't able to have a guest join us today, please share it with them. There's no way any of us would have made it through this program without all the support of our family and friends. And I also want to thank our colleagues. So every student in this part of the project has access to a professional mentor who's met with them multiple times throughout the semester and giving them feedback and encouragement. And so thank you all for doing that for our students. It really was great to see the feedback and insights, and having that other perspective to bounce ideas around was really helpful and benefited the work. So all right, well, I'll stop gushing. Dr. McGuire, what did you have?
Yeah, so just one more thank you before we move on, which is to Jody and her team, who have handled all the logistical um, responsibilities for today, is setting up the virtual rooms, making sure that all the Zoom links work, and making sure that we have facilitators in each room. So thank you to Jody, Ashley, Pinnock, Liam, Caitlin, for your support and making sure that this program went off without any hiccups. So thank you all very much for making this easy for Dr. McIntyre and myself. I also would just like to echo Dr. McIntyre and thank our mentors. Usually we have like mentors and program instructors like raise their hand. I think there's a reaction to do that. So if you know how to raise your hand or put a thumbs up, maybe if you want to put a thumbs up, how about that? So that we can acknowledge all of our mentors and program faculty who teach and work alongside our students throughout the program. Your support is sincerely and deeply appreciated. As you all know, I think one of the biggest strengths of our program is that we have meaningful and long-lasting relationships with individuals who are educators and scholars working both at ASU, but also across the Valley, and sometimes as well as in other states. And so we appreciate the support that you provide, and the mentorship, and the learning that you, or the way that you help to expand the learning of our students in our program. So thank you very much for that. And most importantly, I want to say congratulations and thank you to our students. I'm sure it cannot go overstated, I think, how unique this semester has been. And you all continue to approach the project and your capstone experience with enthusiasm, with a level of dedication, a level of flexibility and creativity that I think I was just excited to see, and gave me also energy as I entered and worked with you all over the last 7.5 weeks. And so I know very few things feel like it's normal as far as celebrating things in this particular context, but we do hope that you will find time to honor this moment in some way, to reflect back on all of the hard work that you've accomplished over your time in the program, and that you are able to enjoy at least a moment of reprieve with family and friends and colleagues, because what you have accomplished, not only today and throughout the semester, but over the program, is definitely worth celebrating. And it's been our pleasure to be on this journey alongside of you. So there's just two more things before we wrap up. So first one is kind of an announcement of sorts, which is at the very end, we'll ask all mentors, program faculty, and students to stay on the call so that we can take a photo. We may have to take multiple photos. I actually don't know how this works, taking photos in Zoom, but Jody will be here to assist us with that. Um, and also every semester during the capstone experience, we have an opportunity to recognize a student, one of your colleagues and peers, who is nominated by program faculty as a recognition for their achievement and contributions, both inside and outside of the classroom, to the higher and post-secondary education program. And so this year we'll have an opportunity to do the same. And what I'm going to do is just share very briefly what one nominator said about this particular student before I announce who the student is. And again, we and Lindsay, Dr. Dipple, who is on the call, normally does this part and does it much more eloquently than I do as I fumble through this process. But it's really an opportunity for us to recognize a peer who has made significant contributions, who has also impressed upon faculty with their dedication, not simply in this course, but throughout the program, and is therefore worthy of the nomination. We usually will hand you a piece of paper or a certificate of an award framed. We will have to connect after this in order to pass that along to you. But one nominator said about this student, that this student is extremely engaged. They also demonstrate a high level of intellectual curiosity, and they also not only work well with students, but embrace collaboration, and that this student in particular deserves recognition for their outstanding contributions that they made to the learning environment within and across classrooms. And so without further ado, that student is Dakota Weber. So let's give Dakota a round of applause. And also, Dakota, congratulations. I know you didn't know this was happening. You and I can connect after to make sure that you get your certificate and award. But again, congratulations, and for an award that's well deserved. Okay. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we're going to stop there. Again, thank you for everyone who came and visited with us. We'll ask for the students and program faculty and mentors to stay on so that we can get one picture, and we'll share that out with everyone as well.